All righty, what is going on, ladies and gents? Welcome back to the channel for another market update. Hope everybody had a lovely day. And with that being said, let's dive into the TA. All right, guys, so we did end up closing out with a bullish engulfing candlestick today. I know, so bearish because, you know, government shutdown. Everybody, guys, the market's going to crash. We're all going to die. All right. Nope, that's not what's going to happen. Every single time the government has been shut down in the past, we have closed higher by the time it ended. All right. So from where that shutdown started, which is today's price. Okay. It's technically tomorrow's price. When I back tested that, it's tomorrow's price I was going off of. Okay. From tomorrow's high of day, we are looking for a higher price by the end of the shutdown. One of those lasted 35 days, I believe it is. The one in 2018, the longest one in history. The other ones, guys, you know, if you sold the first week, you got bought up the second week. That's really how it was. We can just look back, and I can show you guys right now. All right, if you just want to look back here. All right, 2018. All right, now this is different circumstances. Okay, you end up selling over here. Pretty sure this was the tariff sell-off, and then you got the government shutdown over here. So there's that, okay? Or this was your tariff sell-off. I'm not sure which one. But yeah, either way, you did end up going down one more session, and then the whole, you know, rest of the time from that close there, okay, you ended up, you know, rising 11%. Okay, you want to come over to the last one, and this is how that went. Went down the first week from right here, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 candlesticks going down, and then 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 on the next week you went up. Sold the first week, you went up the next week. The one before that, we're going way back, guys. We're going way back. Okay, and every other time, guys, they just come to an agreement. All right, and I'm just going to say, this is the worst of the worst here. This is when the government actually gets shut down. So, I mean what I said in yesterday's video. I stand by it. I don't think the panic is going to be caused by the government shutdown. If we get a sell, we know this stat over here suggests that it's likely going to be bought by the end of that shutdown. So, if we sell for, let's say, a week, all right, after we get these new all-time highs tomorrow, or whenever it's going to be, all right, we'll talk about in this video. If we get the new all-time highs and then start selling, we're going to expect that dip to be bought within like a week, okay? That's how it's going to go. Within 1 to 2 weeks, we're going to say. But yeah, I hope you guys had a good day over here. CRWV, guys, did end up finally having a big boy move, all right? Had a nice gap up off the open here. It was up, you know, around 15% over here. It's, you know, still closing up 12%. I think the fact that this got over the last weekly high here, I think this means it's go time. Okay, that's what we're looking for. Okay, they've gotten a lot of deals over the past 2 weeks here. They've gotten over half their market cap in deals, and somehow the stock has only moved, you know, 10 to 15%. I think it calls for more upside. I think the technical setup is pretty sweet, and I think this thing is probably going to be pushing up to new highs. Maybe it consolidates here a bit and then pushes up. But by end of week, I think we're going to be at 148.80 over here. But either way,
looks easy.
There you go. I hope you guys made some money, and anybody who took the opportunity with us to load up down here, okay, I understand trade flat, okay, but you got a buying opportunity over here, and I was being very vocal about this one over here. Buy some time, sit back, relax. It makes no sense that it hasn't had its day yet. The day is around the corner. I think that day just started, okay? I think over the next few weeks, this is going to be a money print over here, and our boy Tesla over here. Now, I'm not really sure what this guy's going to be doing, but with the market doing what it's doing right now, I think some of these stocks I'm going to point out in these videos, I think they're going to take the opportunity to start their runs on this, you know, on this move here, okay? But let's go over the indices. We now know about the government shutdown, government schmutdown, all right? It's a nothing burger. Okay, it's what we were saying we thought yesterday. Now, it doesn't mean it doesn't cause some short-term panic here, but it just means that if we get like a prolonged correction here, a multi-week correction, which I'm just going to remind everyone, we haven't gotten one in a very long time. We've had nothing burger types of 1 week corrections every single time since the over here. Okay, over here you went sideways for 2 weeks, but you know, if you just look at the daily time frame, you pulled back into the 21 EMA. You reverted to the mean on all of these moves here. You didn't get one of these guys the last few weeks. You didn't get one of these guys. You didn't get one of these guys. You just haven't gotten one in a while here. So I'm just saying eventually we do get that, okay? Because at this point, we haven't gotten one in, it's been like 5 to 6 months. So keep that in mind. Keep that in mind. But, you guys can see the same thing I'm seeing. The weekly candle, guys, if we do end up taking out all-time highs, it's probably going to expand. And, yeah, I don't know if they close you at the highs this week. I really don't. We might get a topping tail, but, it looks bullish in the short term. We're very likely going to get these new all-time highs. We knew QQQ as of yesterday. We talked about it. I got so close to all-time highs that it kind of makes no sense that it's not going to get those all-time highs. If it was going to give us a pullback over here, it was likely to get bought in the short term over coming sessions up to highs. Now, what happens after that, I can't tell you, all right? But I can tell you that if it gives me the pullback, then I'll take advantage of it, and you guys can do whatever you want to do. But I just showed you the stats that suggest if that pullback does come off the government shutdown news, then guess what? It's going to be bought, or it's probably going to be bought. It has in the past. And, with how things are set up, I'm just going to point out some solid charts at the end of the video. I got a few nice no-brainer names over here for you. Okay, but yeah, let's go over the levels here on QQ and SPY. We'll go over some Mag 7 stocks, and then I got those trade ideas at the end of the video. Let's dive into it. All right, on the upside, QQQ, guys, all right, because where we are right now in the after hours, okay, we have 599.90, 671 today's high. Above there, we have 602.05, 602.87. If you get up to 602, you're probably just going straight up to all-time highs. Above there, 605. On the downside, 597.41 and then 596.30 is that gap that held up today. We did end up filling that. We came down to the daily 9 EMA. We talked about it. All right. And yeah, we'll see if we build out consolidation here for another session or so. And at that point, we have a three-day range going on here. And then that gives us, what we need to get up to, to new highs. Or if we're just going to push up to new highs tomorrow. I'm really not sure. But it's not looking bad. It's looking very likely. Now that SPY also played some catch up here, got, just dragged itself up more than QQ today, right next to highs as well. Yeah, it looks very probable like we're going to get up there. Okay, so on the downside, just watch 597.41 and then 596.30. That gap, it's right at the 9 EMA. If you take that out, that's not good. Okay, at that point, we do risk having the larger correction right now. But again, if we get this, like it might look sloppy, but it's probably just going to go something like that. Like, that's really your worst case scenario is we get the pullback before highs. But I think it's more likely we get something like that. And it's like that. And then people are going to get real bearish. And then it's like that. And then maybe that mid-October. All right. Does that make sense to you guys? Because it makes sense to me. All right. And this is what I was kind of trying to say yesterday. I think it makes more sense to go up in the short term as everybody gets super bearish. I just know this market, and this market doesn't make it easy. And most of the time when I see what I saw yesterday on Twitter, all right, and over the weekend on Twitter, the market goes up. It's not going to do the obvious move. And so far it's not doing the obvious move. So there's that. But that's also just how, charts were kind of looking. Okay. They weren't looking all that bad. They were not. Okay. But we'll see what happens. We'll see what happens, guys. We know the levels there on QQQ. Come over to SPY. All right. On the upside, we have 665.28. We have today's high at 666.65. And then we have 667.34. Above there, 670 is going to be your immediate short-term target. Increasing volume on today, just like QQ, held that gap. All right, held the 9 EMA there. This is the second day in a row we held that. And just like QQ, all right, maybe we consolidate, put in a little range action here before breaking up. Maybe we don't. Who knows? All right, your range would look something like that. You probably get one more pullback and then push up after that. So if you pull back like that, then you push up these highs. That's when you can expect, this next little, we're going to say 3 to 5 point pop in the short term there. That's what you'd be looking for, okay? Excusez-moi. Upside 665.28, 666.65, 667.34, 670. Downside 662.37, 660.27. Tongue twisters over here with these sixes, guys. Oh my gosh. And then we have 656.90. Okay. DIA closed out with a hammer candlestick on the day, also off that 9 EMA. IWM has that same exact look, except it came off of the 21 EMA above 242.93 on IWM. We're talking 244.61, 246.31, and then 247.18 above there. 250 incoming. VIX over here, guys. Ultimately, you have to get above here. Okay, until you take out 1774, break out of this parallel descending channel here. I think this continue building. Continues just building something out here. I don't think it makes sense just for this thing to start heading up after. We're just building something sloppy here. I don't think it's going to rocket. That's just my opinion. I think it's going to be pushed back, and I think that's the unexpectedness that I was speaking of yesterday. Yes, we probably still do get a correction at some point, but at this point, yeah, I'm still definitely going to say new highs just look more probable than not. We got above $600 today. It's just what it looks like. Okay. I could be wrong. I don't think I am though. And yeah, we'll see. All right. Mag 7 stocks, guys. Same look as QQQ. All right. Looks like it wants new highs over here on the Mags ETF. Amazon. Weakness. All right. I just don't think there's a reason to trade this. I'm going to point out some Mag 7 stocks in this video that are looking better. Meta over here. I also don't see a reason to be trading this right now. I think this thing is going to continue moving flat until we get back above 766.50. Google. All right. GOOG over here, guys. GOOG, GOOGL, both moved the exact same. Bounced off of the 21 EMA today. I think it's probably going to be like how it has gone in the past. And once you do that, you're probably going to, have another session off of it, just like you did over here, just like you did over there. Okay, right over here, you had 3 sessions right around it. All right, over here you danced around it. Over here you danced around it. All right, here you just, rocketed. Either way, if you get consolidation around here, that's building out for a move back to the upside. I think we're probably going to push up to new highs from here. Okay, whether that goes like this or that goes like this, I am uncertain. I'm not saying you go much higher than that. There's a chance they do this crap right here. All right, and it builds out something like this. All right, and it's just expanding along the way here, but it's not, it's this. All right, every new high gets sold. Okay, so there's a chance of doing that over on Google, but either way, that's where it starts, right off the 21 EMA with the hammer candlestick today. I think it's probably going to hold like it does in the past, and that's that. Okay, or has in the past. Apple over here, guys, I like it. I do. I think this move up to all-time highs is imminent. And yeah, while we have the market, moving and grooving to the upside, I think this is probably going to be taking place. And, it makes sense for this just kind of to continue into highs here. And in the past, I'm just saying, Apple, when it is continuing, all right, it's just straight green candlesticks, which means it's probably not going to have this very, small body bar here. It's just not. It's not probable in my opinion. This is a baby candlestick here. It's going to expand by end of week. And it's likely going to be the upside. We got two inside bars. The two bodies here are inside the body of this candle over here. I think this is getting ready for a big snap to the upside here. So that's Apple, guys. Above 257.34, you have 260.10 and then 263 and then 265. Above there, 270. Microsoft getting ready for a move, guys. We talked about the puts being sold the other day. Right over here. Okay, right there. Guess what's going on? All right, it's looking like it wants to get moving and grooving. It's building out this range here. Okay, you have 2 tests of the highs, 3 tests of the highs, 2 tests of the lows over here. At some point, one direction or the other is going to snap. I think it's going to be to the upside. We got increasing volume on this move. These last few sessions here, and yeah, I know the whole market's pulling back off of government shutdown right now, but we already talked about what we need to talk about when it comes to the government shutdown. Okay, this over here, guys, above 519.30, I still think this thing gets all the way back up here. I think it's going to make a move like this quick, or it's going to move like this. All right, maybe a little less than that, maybe 524, pulls back from there. All right, but that's my anticipation over here on Microsoft. Above 519.30, you have 522.82, 526.10, 531.40, 0.618 fib. Tesla, guys, I think, yeah, if the market's going to move up, Tesla's going to use this opportunity to actually break out of this structure it's been building out here. You now do have an inverse head and shoulders pattern over here on the 4-hour time frame. The daily closed out with the hammer candlestick, almost got down to the 9 EMA. If you do see this thing, you know, if it's flying tomorrow, guys, okay, this 9 EMA gets dragged up. And at that point, you know, like this is going to look like a test over here. Either way, that's irrelevant. You break 451, 465, 16 incoming. All right. At that point, you're so close to all-time highs that I think they're just going to get you up there either this week or the next week. Probably going to be the next week. But, you know, I don't think the weekly candle is going to close out like this. Either this is going to be a fake out move and they're going to close you. You know, I thought you were going to come lower off, like, you know, this, it dragged the 9 EMA up today, but the 9 EMA was all the way down here. I just figured we get the test. We didn't get the test of it. Either way, it still looks like, yeah, you know, it's a bear case scenario. It's either going to build out this third week of consolidation, just like it did over here. All right. It's a little bit different. You're just kind of grinding to the upside. But, you know, we've seen this action one time, all right, and that's over here when it was grinding to the upside, and then boom, bop, bing, boom, pow, okay? Or over here, boom, bop, bing, boom, pow. Not in the recent history. I guess we can look at it like that. But, yeah, you know, I think this is going to be followed with a big move up. That's Tesla. That's all I really got to say, guys. Above 465.16, I do think 488.54 is incoming in the short term. And then we already talked about it yesterday. I think this thing goes a lot higher. I'm talking 550 plus. Maybe, you know, 1 to 2 weeks after this breakout happens, 488.54. Nvidia, guys.
Looks easy.
It's freaking beautiful. Why is everyone sleeping on Nvidia over here? All right. I got a few no-brainers here that are just started, you know, my little money printers. This is the thing I'm sizing up on, you know, in this market here, because, I'm just going to be honest, it's an uncertain market, but there's a few things that just really stand out. And like, that's Nvidia, that's PLTR over here. I know people are sleeping on it. I understand. I'm not. Okay. I'll keep pounding the table on this name. I've been doing it all through this consolidation over here ever since we got this day so close to all-time highs, and then start pulling back. You know, it's literally just building out one of these ranges like it does every other time, and then pushes up to new highs from it. You know, like, it's enough said. This thing's going to be at new highs. All right. Just wait for the next impulsive move to pop up. The last two range breakouts, guys, which would be in this case a break over 185.75. Last two range breakouts. Okay. Very similar looking to what we got right now, except I'd argue this looks a lot sexier than what you had over here. You know, a lot more certain that, yes, this is the structure that builds out before we launch up to new all-time highs, which is 190. Yeah, the last two was a 3 to 4% move, guys. Give me a 3% move above 185.75, and let's just see where we get to. Let's do the math, all right? We're above 190, okay? So if you're taking entries in this range over here, you're going to get paid over here on this next breakout. You can trade shorter dated options here, guys, if you do get that move. Okay, let's just take a look at what they're going to be going for, okay? We'll just come over to Palantir. Come over, all right? You want to trade weeklies? Fine, all right? Trade Henry setup with a weekly. Above 185.75, you could take the move up to 190 plus. What's a 5-point move again? You're 185, so you're going for 250. All right, it's going to be about 100% gain. If it happens not tomorrow, but the day after that, then you're going to make even more. It's probably going to be 150 to 200% gain, because they're, you know, data decay is going to kick in on those contracts, okay? I think there's a chance we have an outsized move here, and we might, over the coming session, see like a 5 to 6% move, 10-point move here. If you catch that, all right, that 250, all right, turns into like, you know, 800, 900 bucks. So we'll see about it. But I'm just letting you guys know, this is a no-brainer that I want to really pound the table on here. Just like Nvidia over here, it's, yeah, people were getting bearish on this thing. I know it takes its time. I know I was saying, okay, it's time to do its thing. And people want to be little haters over here when we're getting, you know, a few days of pullback. But, you know, you just got to give these things time. If I show you a monthly and weekly chart, do not complain a few days later. Don't complain to me in general. I'm being very kind by sharing everything like I do every day on this channel, okay? But I'll definitely tell you, it's, you know, don't complain about it, all right? It's been 2 days over here. You want to complain. The thing, just give it. You gave it a week. Guess what? It pushed up to new highs, and it just started, and now it's going 200 plus. You know, I think personally, this is a setup just like you had over here. All right, where you had this breakout. Now, this one happened not too far after this breakout, but, you know, we still end up going. Look at that, 20%. You know, give us 20%. That's crazy. Okay, that's $220. Does anybody have that at their bingo card here? All right, I don't. I got 200 plus on it, though. I'll take that. I'm not going to be around for $200. You know, maybe shorter term trades along the way, reversions to the means. We'll be, you know, keeping an eye out for them because we're going to get them. This trend looks like it's about to start. All right, Nvidia is going to be, you know, we're talking $5+ trillion market cap right around the corner. But that's Nvidia, guys, above 184.48, 190, 195, $200. CRWV got the pop again. I'll just hit that.
That was easy.
Anybody who took the time over here, you could have loaded, you know, January calls over there. Guess what? Okay, I didn't even get the best entry, and they still went 80% today at highs. You know, I'm just saying, this is the move I'm talking about. Now that it's going, now that we got the weekly, you know, going over last week's high, that's a condition that if you look back on this chart, you don't do that. It's never happened. Okay, when you get over the last week's high, you expand the candlestick every single time, even if it's just like that. 12%. Okay, even if it's just like that, 27%. You didn't do it there. What happens when you do it? 12%. It's not done that before. Okay, 14% right there. So now that we've gotten here, okay, and also right over here, you did 3.5%. Either way, we still didn't get that. All right, we got 2 point something. Okay, but that would be like us just going up to 144, and that's all she wrote for the week. I don't think that's going to be the case. We're breaking out a 2.5 weeks of consolidation here. I think this is finally about to actually be kicking it off. I think a gap up is possible. An ideal over here. Let's get above 148.80 as soon as possible. And then let's close the week above 150. Maybe we get a pullback early next week. Maybe we don't. But once this trend starts up, which I think this thing just started today, all right, the fact that we got this big move going, the fact that we're above the side tells me it probably just started. This thing could go for a ride, and we're going to be looking for these, we're talking 20% plus weekly moves, okay? And let's just say the thing even closes right here this week. Bada bing, bada boom, okay? Like 160 plus incoming over here. I think all-time highs is going to be coming sooner than people think. But we're not going to talk about that right now. What we will talk about is the monthly candle closing out like this. Does this not look like the next month is going to be followed with this? Does to me. All right, but either way, that's CRWV. Congrats if you loaded up there on that retest. It does look like you caught the very start of the move over there, and that's a lot of times that's where that premium pump comes from. Okay, so congratulations. All right, Palantir, we already talked about it, but I'm going to talk about it one more time, guys. It's very clearly ranging out before that next move up, like it has done every single time in the past. All right, if you're in an uptrend and it ranges, it breaks up every single darn stinking time. Every time, even before I had this larger correction, you ranged out and you went up. Okay, and 9% move above that. You're even taking this, which that's not the range. Okay, you can clearly see this is where the price action was had. That was even a 5% move. Give me that. I'll be super satisfied here. Okay. But just look at how this thing trades, okay? And we're all the way back down at the bottom, guys. This is $20. The thing is $200 now, all right? So we don't really have a reason to look at, how price traded back then. But, let's be real about it. The thing's going up to new highs, all right? That's that. Look at the monthly chart. Bada bing, bada boom, all right? The thing is going crazy as she steps in the room. Dell. Nobody's talking about Dell. I haven't seen it pop up, and then I see in the CRWV agreement when I'm reading it, Dell's name in there, and they're using all Dell stuff. Well, Dell is going to be a benefactor of that agreement. Guess what? All right, this looks pretty crazy. I'm not telling you to long the thing right now. I'm saying maybe it consolidates and then you get a better entry price, or maybe if you want to long the thing, it's gonna break out regardless. You can long it here, and I think it's a great idea, and you can long it on a pullback. I think it's a great idea. It's up to how you want to trade it. I can't control that. What I can tell you is this thing is about to have a breakout, and it does look like on the higher time frames that this is going to lead to a large move. Look at the monthly candle. What the heck is that thing? It just closed it up. What is that? Okay, it's looking a little freaking crazy. Let's get these fucking all-time highs going. What is this, dude? Monthly bull flag breakout, break and retest off of these moving averages once you got back over them. It's looking beautiful. You flipped a switch. and then you snapped it in half, so now you can't turn it off, the thing might go a little crazy, okay? 142.11, 147.66 above there, all right? Yeah, we're talking 150 psych level, then you have 160, 180 all-time high, okay? This is looking juicy. It's looking juicy, all right? Put it on your radar. IRIN, I think it's going to be heading back up the highs, guys. 49.39 incoming this week. And I think once it's above there, 55, I think is at least going to be coming over here in the short term. Maybe $60. Hive, we talked about it the last few sessions over here. You pulled back right over here. We've been talking about it ever since over here, okay? And as long as you were holding the 21 EMA, setup was intact. It's looking beautiful. It's looking like this thing wants to explode. It's looking like this is a bull flag. And again, this is another name that people are going to be sleeping on. This thing looks like it's about to have a mass move. Look at the volume coming into it. I'm sleeping on it, okay? We're talking about CRWV over here. We could get these same percent gains over here. We just focus on this little piece of shit stock over here, okay? But that's why, you know, I don't. I like trading the liquid names. I like trading the bigger boys. I am more confident in how they trade. I am. I also know they're liquid, and, you know, people, the market isn't just going to lose interest in these names. When Palantir sets up the way it does, I'm going to see it as a money printer there. It looks beautiful. I know how it trades. This guy over here, this is a piece of shit stock, okay? Does it mean it's not going to make this move? I think it looks absolutely beautiful, phenomenal over here. I just think it's a piece of shit stock. Okay, so like, just realize we do focus on the bigger boys, but there's a reason for it. And if you're an options trader, it's going to be your best friend focused on the bigger boys, okay? You can focus on names like this, all right? Catch some, you know, some more volatile movement. But I promise, you know, if you're an options trader, it's going to be the bigger boys. That's going to be your bread and butter over time, that you can, you know, pretty much repeat the same exact patterns over time on them. Same setup, same everything. Yes, on these smaller time frame stocks, but, you know, I'm just going to say, they don't make sense to me. They really don't. You know, some of the way these things just go on forever. I'm just saying, the way some of these things trade, you can try and, you know, stretch these out. But me personally, like, I'm not sitting through this whole massive move unless it's just shares. It's not, you know, and these bigger boys, they're not going to be making these moves. So there's that. But yeah, you know, Cipher, IRIN, Hive over there. I think everything's looking pretty beautiful. Cipher over here, I pointed this out. I didn't think it makes sense on this the Google sell-off, so I took a position over here. You know, I think this thing's going to be behaving just like it has pulled back, you know, over here plenty of times. This is 1, 2, 3, and then on the fourth day you started going. This is 1, 2, 3. On the fourth day, all right, but we're going to see if you get going tomorrow, okay, above 1282. All right, we're talking this gap right over here, 1360, and then I think we have a chance to literally push right back up to the highs, okay? I don't think it made sense that they ended up selling off of that, okay? I initially took a half position there. I was going to add this, you know, the other on this pullback. I decided not to. You know, I don't know how this thing's going to be traded, but that's what I'm saying, all right? Higher risk, higher reward over here on these higher risk names. That's Hive, all right? So don't be betting no farms on these kinds of names. Don't be betting any farms on anything, but, you know, in reality, yeah, I'm just letting you know, these are the stocks that do a bunch of offerings. These are the stocks that move a little freaky crazy on a day-to-day basis. But it looks beautiful, and it looks like it's about a snap to the upside. Okay, above 408, we're talking 433, 457. I think 5+ is incoming in the short term. All right, all these previous moves, okay, the breakouts, they could bring big moves. All right, in like coming days, 1, 2, 3 sessions, 20% move. I don't think it's like this. This looks absolutely phenomenal over here. Okay, but yeah, breakout incoming. This is within 1, 2 sessions, 13%. Give me a 13% move over 433 from current price. All right. $5. Okay. Current price, that's a dollar move. That's a 25% move. Here you go. Here's your free alpha here on my YouTube channel. I hope you please like. I really do. I beg you, like the video. Like the damn video. Like the video. All right. No, real talk though. Please like the video. I would greatly appreciate it. I was joking, but yeah, I do greatly appreciate it. And sometimes you guys give me more than we usually get. We normally bring in 300, 400 in this channel. There's over 2,000 return and regular viewers here on this channel. There's not even close to 2,000 likes. Please, guys, I greatly appreciate it. So we can, you know, pump our stock of a YouTube channel over here. Okay. We're talking about pumping stocks over here. Let's pump the YouTube channel. All right. Bull over here, guys, is getting the pullback we talked about. You got the breakout yesterday. You're pulling back 1460. We talked about in yesterday's video. We did end up getting it today. Ideally, we build out a few days of consolidation here. All right. Like we have done a few times in the past. There's not a lot of price history here, so I can't point to any other times other than that. But yeah. All right. Big green move. All right, red week the following week, and then resume that move after. Okay, so I personally like November calls over here if you're going to try and catch this move. And yeah, you know, we were looking for this pullback, thinking it was going to be coming. I wasn't sure if it was going to be coming, so I personally took half the position. I'm waiting to add the second half of that, see if you know, we get the 9 EMA test down here. I'm really not sure, but you know, what I think is going to come after a candle like that is another day of consolidation. So we'll see what happens. But then again, all right, all right, this thing, he gave no warning of this thing just rocketing this morning, okay? So, you know, stocks are a little crazy sometimes. They're a little crazy. ASTS, guys, I like what it's doing. I'm just going to say I took this thing off today, but, you know, I also do like what it's doing. I did acknowledge today that this time is different. I told you guys, if we have 2 back-to-back red candlesticks, it's probably going through one of these longer corrected periods here. And I don't think it's going to give you the cleanest moves. And it is going to be different from one of these times over here, okay? I thought we had a chance at, you know, seeing a move like this. We all saw what Oklo did, right? We all saw that. ASTS 2.0, okay? Oklo, I saw the same type of action. You know, this is also what I realized today. We saw the same type of action over there on Oklo, and this thing has been doing it. Okay, and I missed Oklo. I missed a 30% move in one day on Oklo. I was kind of tight about that. That's 60%. All right, now it's pulling back, and I'm confident, yeah, you're going to base out somewhere around the 21 EMA, test that bad boy, and push back up the highs. But, you know, this is where the beautiful money was to be made. Premiums were not jacked to the tits over here. They're freaking crazy now. All right, so that's Oklo. Okay, but yeah, you come over here ASTS, and I think we have very similar price action to where, you know, for like months we were just building out a base. Okay, and that's what we're doing over here in ASTS. So maybe we are building out something like that. I don't think we are. I think it's just going to be a few weeks of consolidation here. It is, I think, going to push back up the highs. I don't think it does it right away. I think we might on this next monthly candle revisit like 40 to 43 bucks. That's what I think. Okay. So that's ASTS. Just thought I'd mention about it because I mentioned it not too long ago, and it is not behaving how it was looking. It was looking like it wanted to show all the strength in the world while the market was falling off a cliff. So there was that. All right. Next one, run. I like what's going on over here. I think it's only a matter of time until this breaks above 1832, and I think it's going to push 2068. That's run. Okay. Oscar. I think also we pushed up here 1977. I think this might consolidate a bit, and then I think it's destined to run above 1977. We're talking 2077, and then all right, we're talking all the way up here 2209, 2379. Okay, AMD, it's still doing a whole lot of nothing inside this range. Watch for the break above 165, 164.50, and yeah, that could spark that fire. Okay, SBAT, I just want to say, guys, we have been seeing calls coming over here for SBAT. I do see the moving averages coiling up over here, and I do think a move up might be right around the corner. Okay, so put your alert right here, 1867. That's all you got to do. If you get the alert that, you know, if that gets hit at that point, if you want to trade it, you can trade it. Okay, but you know, it's doing something that it didn't do over here. It didn't do over here. Okay, it put in the base, it put in this high, it put in the low, and then it made a new high. It hasn't done that. Okay, you tried doing over here, you didn't do it. So if it does it here, and the moving average are, you know, compressing like they are, and we get the cloud flip to green over here, yeah, the thing's probably going to run. So SBAT, I've been seeing call flow coming in over here. I think I actually showed it in yesterday's video. Maybe it's somewhere on the screen hidden. No, it's not. I deleted it. But yeah, all right. I think this might get a move right around the corner. And I do want to point out why it's going to be moving. It's going to be off of Ethereum. And Ethereum's breaking retesting off of, you know, 4.1K over here, where it broke out of. Okay. So that's SBAT. Open Sesame. Okay. If it breaks down underneath the 21 EMA, if you see 732 break over here, no bueno. All right, no bueno, and it's not going to be moving like we thought right now. It's definitely going to be testing this 9 EMA. on the weekly time frame, and that's at 660. So there is that. Okay, so that's open, but as long as it is holding, and if we can push back above 921, it's probably going to happen all in one day when it does go, which could be this week. We'll see. All right. If you guys are not new to the channel, you know I don't like that candlestick. Okay, it doesn't matter what time frame this candlestick, the hangman candlestick, just this, you know, it's an ugly looking dude. All right, it's got this nice skinny body, big head. Okay, who likes his big head, skinny body? All right, screw him. All right, no, screw this candlestick though. Real talk. Vast majority of the time, when you get that, doesn't matter what time frame it is. On the next candlestick, you pull back into the wick. That's why I actually just point out ASTS on the monthly time frame over here. I don't like when these candlesticks print. You know, I'm not gonna say I don't like it. I just know what happens when them, and we don't like it. If you're looking to long something and you have that, you're going to have to wait. That's how that goes. Okay. You don't have to, you can do whatever you want. But in reality, the vast majority of them, they do. Like, look what happened on the last one. You actually took it out. All right. And guess what? You printed something similar over there. You went into the wick. All right. I'm not going to find any other examples on this chart. Over here, you got a little one like that. You came lower into the wick. So there's usually a better entry right around the corner if you're looking along a stock and you see that, which, you know, if you see it, it just tells you, hey, don't put all your risk on right now. Okay. Maybe you want to take a starter position there, but, you know, in reality, it's probably going to pull back on you. And it's the same to the upside. All right. You know, but we'll talk about that another time. But yeah, other than that, guys, I got JD over here. It's building out a range in between the 21 EMA, 9 EMA moving average over here on the daily time frame and 3606 breakout level. Above 3606, it probably goes 3784, and then 40 plus incoming. 40 is right at the 0.618 FIB. And that's that, guys. That's what I have for you guys in today's video. A little bonus over here, AVGO, it's just dancing around the 21 EMA. I'm not sure if it's going to, you know, get back above here, but if it does get back above 341, all right, I think this is probably going to start pushing up pretty quickly to 356.34, all right, where this broke down from. All right, you were trying to base above it for a move up, and you broke down. So that's going to be a key spot there. I think if we get over here, all right, and we save this guy, we can get that move. All right, but it doesn't look like we're going to get over there. It's possible if we take out today's low at 324.61 and the market does want to move down, then this is probably going to come right back down 320.50, which is 0.618 FIB from this most recent move up, bottom to top there. And then you have 317.35 where you broke out from. Okay, that's what I have for you guys today. I hope you guys enjoyed today's video. Please remember to leave a like on the video. I really do appreciate it. It's the only if you want to thank me, okay, you can't pay me, okay, there's no donation button. What you can do is you can hit a like. I appreciate it, I do. But yeah, other than that, guys, if you want to come trade with me, I'm live every day. You know, I'll help you out in the market if, you know, you want a community to trade with. And yeah, all right, you can come trade these things with me. And with that being said, guys, I will catch you on the next one. I hope you guys are having a good time in the market. I know it's doing this crazy stuff and everybody online is thinking, oh, government shutdown, we're all going to die, okay? But just realize, yeah, it's what we talked about in yesterday's video. It's probably not going to be that causes the mass panic. So if we get a larger correction, it's probably not even going to be that. It's going to be like a out of nowhere catalyst. So, which we don't know about. We don't know about until it happens. So, like, don't buy into the social media fear. Don't buy into the social media bullishness. Just, you know, be aware of who you're following online because a lot of people just get it wrong. I like to think, I do know for a fact, we do get it right much more than we get it wrong here on this channel. And the fact that we cover so much here and call price action on so much, you know, swing moves on so many of these stocks, I think that's a great thing. Again, if you think it's a great thing, please leave a like on the video. With that being said, though, I will catch y'all in the next one. Everybody have a lovely rest of the day, and peace. Then all these stocks we're talking about have good moves. If we get the move out of the way here to start off the week, and then by end of the week we start pushing back up, we take out, all right, this high, Friday's high here, we're probably pushing right back up the highs. That's the market showing you what it wants to do. Right now, we don't really know what the market wants to do. I could say, objectively speaking, this is a bullish chart here. It doesn't look bad at all. This is a break and retest off that downtrend line right there. Push right back, consolidating above highs. You know, objectively speaking, this thing's just going to go up. That's that. Okay? But yeah, that's what I have for you guys today. If you guys enjoyed today's video, please just remember to leave that like. If you want to come trade with me, I'm live every day. And that link will be down below. And other than that, guys, everybody have a lovely rest of your weekend. and I will catch y'all in the next one. Peace.